It's time for Chat with Chuck, live from Windsor, California, discussing stuff on Chuck's mind, life, attitudes, and stuff. And now, your host, Chuck the DJ.
Hey, welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. I think this is episode number 15. I'm not really sure. Tennessee Girl redeeming the only the only redemption I have turned on is the confetti cannon, and I do gotta say, howdy to Dance DJ Deb, who I think was in here before I even started streaming today, and Radioactivity and Tennessee Girl and Jimbo Slice. I do appreciate it. Welcome in. Yeah, Deb was in here drinking before I even before I even hit play. Or even hit stream on the start, so that was fun. So I'm not really sure what that says about Deb, though. I mean, I so appreciate the support, but babe, you're sitting around home, you go, Chuck, chat with Chuck. Jimbo Slice Chicago says you work here. That's true. DJ Trish, welcome in. How you doing? Deb is just here for the drinks, and ReadyBot is doing that. ReadyBot is throwing the drinks up for you. So if you want a drink, just ask ReadyBot. ReadyBot will be happy to bring one out to you. Oh, gracious. We're going to kill a couple of minutes here just in case we got some last minute arrivals before we start in the meet today. The meet today is going to be a almost kind of a throwback to what Chat with Chuck started with, as opposed to what Chat with Chuck has been doing the last month or so. We have turned into a very Twitch-oriented chat show. We're talking about all things Twitch, and we are going to do that today a little bit. I do have something I want to bring up, something I want to talk about, something I want to find out about, but we'll be doing that. But I think today we're going to be talking about some of the DJ world that I live in. I got some... Normally when I do my Chat with Chucks and I have a thought or I have an idea for a show, I have a number of individuals that I shoot out questions to. To get their responses. And that's what I've been working off of as far as when the Twitch stuff we have been doing lately. That's kind of what I've been working off of. Well, I thought this week that I might give them a break. DJ Ryan, my Pookie is in the house. How you doing, Ryan? DJ Ryan 22. So I thought I would give those people a break this week. And not bug them with a question or an idea for them to work on homework, as it were. I thought that I would give them a break on that. Ryan, especially today, will enjoy some of this stuff. If you're a mobile DJ, if you're out on the road as a mobile DJ, we are going to be touching on bases on some stuff. Lurker, how you doing? You're finding my audio a little quiet. Is my audio a little quiet, or is it just them? Let me see. I think I can turn my audio up a little bit. Let's see here. Technology is not my strong point, but is that any better? Is that a little bit better there? I hope so. It looked like the meter's going higher now. Never quite. DJ C. Los Wells, one of my longtime buddies, who might appreciate some of the pictures I'm going to share today. You sound okay? I sound okay on your phone, Jimbo? Okay. Well, I turned it up a little bit, so if that's okay with everybody, and that sounds better, Tennessee Girl. Okay, great. The first thing I want to point out is what's playing up here on my video screen. Okay, you may notice that this is not what I normally have up here. Normally we have golf-oriented stuff. It's on a loop. It's the video is like 6 minutes long. What this video is that's being shown right here, and I want to say it's from like 90, '91, somewhere like that. What it is that is my show. That's up at Ukiah High School. Carlos knows this. DJC knows Ukiah High, and I decided that I needed a promo video back in the day because when I was doing mainly school dances. So this was a school dance. This was a prom that I did at Ukiah High. And so I had a guy come in, another DJ buddy of mine, DJ Daryl K, Double Barrel Daryl, came in and shot this video. and we put it out on VHS tapes, and we mailed it out to about. I mean, I don't know. I mailed out to about 100 schools or so, and I got some responses. It was kind of cool. My show back then was a lot bigger than a lot of guys as far as there's Spectrum right there. That's the name of the show. A lot bigger than what was out there at the time. There's me and my fancy cameraman doing some just wonderful on-camera effects. But anyway, so that's just going to be playing in the background today because we are going to be talking about some history today of Chuck the DJ and DJs in general, and again with some Twitch-oriented stuff. But the thing I'll point out as I'm watching this, the thing that I liked about Ukiah High School back in the day, and when I was a full-time, pretty much school DJ, it's all I did were schools. Carlos and I were kind of like that. Was that Ukiah High was such a great school to DJ in because you could play a hip-hop song, or you could play a rock song, or you could play a new wave song, or you could play a country song, and it just jammed. It just jammed. We would get like 1,100, 1,200 kids at the school dance, and it would just jam, and that was a great thing about that. He made some interviews, was what's going on right there, and and then I was doing that, and then I moved to Maui, and I was on Maui for like 9 years, and we moved back from Maui, and my buddy Phil booked me a couple times, and he booked me into Ukiah High, and I was like, oh my God, that's so great, Ukiah High. I'm really really looking forward to going back to Ukiah High, because it was always so much fun, and the kids were so great, and just amazing. And it was a whole different level of experience at a school dance. And this was probably about, how long we've been back? This is probably maybe 12 or 13 years ago that we came back. And I went up to Ukiah High to do a dance. And rather than getting reactions like this that I was getting at Ukiah High, what I was getting was, if for some reason the students didn't like that particular song, they would just sit down in the middle of the dance floor and boo me. Right? So there'd be the fringe element that liked the rock song that I put on, and they'd be dancing here, but the rest of the kids would sit down on the dance floor, in the middle of the dance floor, and just boo, and then I'd go to a hip hop song, and then they would stand up, and they would be like, ah, and then the other kids that were doing the country stuff or whatever, they would sit down and they would boo. Hey, Lockpick, how you doing? Welcome in. And it was like that all night long, where if the kids didn't like their particular style of music, they would just sit down on the dance floor and boo and do the cut across the throat symbol, and I made it through the night, but that was it. I'm like, no more. That was the last school dance that I ever did. No polka, yeah, boo. A valid cooldown amount must be specified. I'm not sure. Did my wife type that in? I don't know what that means. Yeah. So the beginning of my DJ career, the beginning of my full-time mobile DJ career, well, pretty much my DJ career, but they'll say the beginning of the full-time, which I went full-time in 1985 as a mobile DJ, and it was like 99% all school dances that I did for the next 17 years. I would do the occasional wedding or private party, especially during the summers or whatever, but it was school dances, and that's what I was known for. I was going out to the conventions, like the Mobile Beat magazine conventions and the DJ Times conventions, and I was presenting school panels to thousands of other DJs about how to do a school dance. That was my gig. I wrote for the magazines. I moderated the school dance boards on their websites. That was my thing. Yeah, Deb, but when I moved to Maui, I got out of that because I got into the destination wedding destination weddings and corporate party market, not really a school market. They just didn't pay any money. Um, DJ Brady official, welcome in. The DJ charge a lot because the number and controller. I'm not really sure. Do you mean do we charge a lot because of the number of songs we have in our controller? I've never in my pricing structure, it has never been about the gear or how much music I have. My pricing structure always was based on me, on what I did. So, for example, if I was doing a school and I was bringing in my 20 feet of trussing, which is what you kind of see over here. Actually, this at that show that was 30 feet, and the lasers and the smoke and the bubbles. I would charge them the same thing that I would charge a school that I brought in my 10-foot system, because either maybe the time allowed for setup I didn't have, or or how many feet? Yeah, how many feet? Yeah, it was never based on that. It was always based on me, or our show. So, but I never liked the booking aspect of the shows. I never, Jimbo, I never charged on that part. I never liked the haggle. How much can you afford to pay? Well, I don't know. How much do you charge? Well, I don't know. How much I never liked that, which is why I always liked having somebody book events for me, whether it be another DJ company or a certified entertainment company, which is what I live for on now. Probably 90% of my events come from a company called Wine Country Entertainment. For those of you that are following me on Facebook, you'll see a lot of my posts. Wine Country, party, da 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 da, and that's my agent. That's who books my gigs. I don't book very much of my gigs. If somebody, if I have a golf buddy or somebody that knows me from the golf course, or it's a longtime friend, hey, can you do my daughter's wedding, or can you do? Yeah, of course I'll do that, but all the corporates that you see me do on Facebook, or the weddings, they're all booked mainly through my agent. DC Artist says having someone doing that part seems like it's less stressful. It is less stressful, DC Artist, for a number of reasons, and like I say, the financial aspect. I don't have to worry about money. My agent will pay me. My agent has to get the money from them. My agent pays me before she gets the money from them. So if she's having a hard time getting money from them, it doesn't matter to me, because they're still going to pay me 4 days actually after the event. They send out checks. My agent now, the way it works now, my agent will call me up, or she'll shoot me an email, and she'll say, "Hey, are you available on September 20th?" And yes, I'm available. She goes, "Okay, great. I got a corporate for you. It's at Silverado. It's $2,000. There you go." I go, "Okay, great. There we go." And that's fine. DJ Hack, am I recording this week? Thank you for reminding me, but yes, I am. I know Hack says that because a couple of weeks ago I screwed up on the recording and I didn't get that one. So I am recording this week. So yeah, for me, having an agent, and they do a lot of the paperwork. They chase the bride and groom down for their itinerary, for their order of first dance or father-daughter dance and all that kind of stuff. They do all that. They do all that. I have actually very little contact with the actual client. At the very good, yes, Los, yeah. When my agent calls me up and says, "Are you available XYZ date?" Yeah, da da da. Okay, great. If it's a wedding, she goes, "Okay, I need to have you talk to Betty and Bob." Great. So Betty and Bob will call me, or I'll call them, whatever, and we have a conversation to see if we're a good fit. If Betty and Bob, say, "Oh, well, no, we want, Ryan, you would like me to show you my contract from last week?" I had a hell of a weekend last weekend. But you're right, not all my gigs are $2,000 gigs. But anyway, so the agent will call me up and says, "Hey, you need to talk to Betty and Bob, Betty and Bob will call me and we'll talk to see if we're a good fit. And then if we're a good fit, Betty and Bob will say, "Yeah, let's go ahead and book Chuck." And at that point in time, that is my contact with the client up until about maybe a month before, 3 weeks before. And at that point, the client and I will start touching bases on formalizing everything. By that time, my agent has already, and if they've got a planner or a coordinator, they've all talked and got the itinerary done. They've got the timeline done. They've got the songs. So now it comes to me. And it's like, okay, so now, oh, good, okay, so I need this song for the first dance. I need this song for the father-daughter dance, or I need this song for the cake cutting, and then I go do the event, and that's for me. Now that doesn't work for a lot of guys. DJ Ryan is a perfect example. DJ Ryan is a very high-end DJ in our area, right? And what I'm not going to get into to cost, but he charges more than I make, right? And so when you go through an agent, right, you're not going to make as much money going through an agent as you are going to book yourself, because the agent takes a cut, right? And for Ryan, that's not worth it for him most of the time. And there's always exceptions. Please, don't hold this against me. I like to say I don't always make $2,000 a show. I think on Saturday night I only made $1,900. So there are exceptions. Especially during the week, because I'm a full-time DJ, and somebody calls me up and says, hey, I got a gig on Thursday. It's a corporate event. In fact, I said September 20th because my agent just booked me for a gig on September 20th that Ryan actually took from me, by the way. I had a gig on September 20th, but Ryan stole the gig from me, so I was without a gig. But now I've got a gig, and we're doing it's a corporate event, and they're having an auction, and they want yacht rock. So I'm gonna do that on September 20th while Ryan's out doing a country show that I was going to do. Purple Stars, welcome in. How you doing? So yeah, Ryan, I hope your party rocks, and I hope you make as much money on that as I do. Carlos can be had for $72.30. That's but see, Carlos is great because Carlos has got his own thing. He's got a day job. I'm assuming you still have your day job. I think, and he does well on very well, I should say, on his day job. So his DJ gigs it's not as important. He can kind of pick and choose his gigs, I'm guessing. Yeah, I was going to. Well, actually, what I was going to do, Ryan, if you want to get into that, yeah, it's just for fun for Carlos. What was happening with that gig was they wanted a country DJ, and they wanted me to play country music. And I'm all about that. I can do that. I can play country music all night long. What I can't do, as Ryan's pointing out here, is I can't teach line dancing. Okay, but there was a line dance teacher that our buddy Jeffrey was going to line up to do that, right? So I don't really know the ins and outs on that one, but what happened was not even the Cupid Shuffle. I have two left feet. For some reason, that line dance teacher fell through. I was kind of putting the word out to some of my DJ people, and nobody came. So you got the gig because you can teach it. Hold a second, getting my large can of Coke here. Coke. But for those of you in the chat, DJ Ryan 22 is my Pookie. He's my boy. We live about 20 minutes apart, and we rip on each other. No, DC artists, I am terrible. I can do the cha-cha slide. That's about it. But electric slide, don't even get me started. Now Ryan, DJ Ryan 22, and if you've watched him, he teaches line dancing, and he actually streams that. And I think tomorrow night, right, Wednesday night, if you're following DJ Ryan 22, he at a local establishment here, I think for the first hour and a half or something like that, 7 to 8:30, somewhere around there. He teaches a huge crowd, and I'm always amazed at the crowd that DJ Ryan gets on these things. And so he teaches these line dances. And then for another hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, then he just plays kind of, music, and they and he goes, okay, we're doing a whatever, come on down if you know this one. And so the people come down, and he streams all that. So if you want to watch DJ Ryan, especially if you like country music, and you want to learn some line dancing, you make sure you follow him, DJ Ryan 22, and check him out tomorrow night. I think that's 7 or 7:30. Yeah, Pacific time. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great show, and I rarely watch him, but I usually pop in after my wife goes to bed, unless I'm really jacked, and then I'll stream against him. But yeah, I'm not sure how we got off on that tangent today, but we're talking about DJs. Because the last few weeks we've been talking nothing except about Twitch. Now, there is one thing about Twitch I do want to talk about, but I was hoping to get a few more Twitch streamers in here because I need some information. I want to learn how to do something. I tried it last night during my stream, but it didn't work because I was obviously doing something wrong. And as Jimbo will tell you, technology is not my friend. No worries, Pookie, no worries. And I'm gonna wait a little bit. It's 420 for those of you here in California. If you're a 420 fan, light them, smoke them, pass them if you got it. So I decided that I wanted to talk a little bit about DJing kind of stuff today, and so I did a little research. I went online. What prompted this was I was on Facebook. And somebody in one of the DJ platforms had posted a story about some lady, and I want to say it was Detroit, but anyway, just had a horrible experience with her DJ, and she wrote just this scathing interview or review, and just ripped this guy a new one. I mean, And rightfully, if you can believe the interview, which you got to take some of that kind of stuff with a grain of salt. From playing the wrong song for their first dance to deciding apparently on his own as they were walking down the aisle to announce the bride and groom like a WWE, and now coming down the road, Betty and Bob, and the way it sounded. No. Is it the mom that ripped the DJ apart? No, I thought it was the bride, wasn't it? The bride. Maybe if you're talking about the same one. But anyway, she just ripped him a new one, so the review was posted on TikTok. That helps you, Jimbo. The review was posted on TikTok, and then the buddies posted it on the Facebook page. So I went to the TikTok page, and there were a gazillion other brides on there that said, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what the DJ did at my wedding." And I started reading some of these, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Now, in the DJ world, in the DJ world that I live in, and I know every DJ's got their own thing, and every DJ does their things their own way, and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm a very request-oriented DJ. If a bride and groom sends me a song list, that's pretty much what I'm playing. I'm twerking on TikTok now. And I'm that way. And for me, because this is a full-time job, and this is kind of how I've always felt, is that I live on referrals, or at least I live on keeping my agent and the coordinator and the bride happy. So they use me more. I guess that would be living on referrals, going about that in two different ways. Where I know that, and I'm going to, again, using generalities here. I know that maybe somebody that maybe is a newer DJ, and maybe it's a part-time job for them, and they're out there thinking that, being a DJ is cool. Now, when I started, when Los started, it wasn't as cool to be a DJ, especially if you go way back to when I was DJing in the early 70s, early to mid 70s. Being a DJ, you just got hired back then because they couldn't afford a band. It wasn't cool. Oh my God, you got a DJ? That's so cool. No. So now all these guys that are out there, all these DJs that are out there, they're thinking that they can go out and do what they want to do and get on TikTok, and they can get all that kind of stuff. And it's a different world. I'm not a club DJ. There are guys out there that are club DJs, beat mixers from hell. A lot of great frickin' DJs on Twitch. And if that's your favorite command, Jimbo, and if that's your style, that's great. But for most weddings, and again, I say most because not all, but for most weddings, the club DJ is not what they want, or is not what's needed, maybe, except for maybe the last half hour when maybe some of the older people or whatever have had their fill and they're going away and stuff like that. And you got your last half hour or so, maybe the younger people, and they want to really pump it, maybe. But generally speaking, across the board, a club style beat mixing, remixing, power mixing, quick mixing DJ is not needed at clubs, or at weddings, or probably most corporates. And again, and I know there are exceptions. So if anybody's going to be watching this on YouTube and some DJs, they're going to rip on me and say, no, there are exceptions. I understand that. Lockpick, you're not bad. You're good. You're a good DJ. Now, your style, you'd have to be willing to change, and your hair, maybe your clothes, and that, never mind. Don't do weddings, Lockpick. But anyway, so I wrote down or copied some of the things that DJs have done at weddings that have annoyed some of the brides. This one, I love this one. So our DJ called us the bride and groom, but we're lesbians, and that is, I mean, I've my daughter's gay. I did her wedding. You don't refer to a gay. It doesn't matter if it's a male or female. You don't refer to them as a bride and groom at a gay wedding. This was a good one, too. The DJ was supposed to play Come What May from Moulin Rouge. Instead of using the soundtrack version, he played the one from the movie with dialogue, crying, and gunshots. Now, DC artists, exactly, which is why I take some of this stuff with a grain of salt, because he did a YouTube rip. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm not going to say all expensive DJs are good or all cheap DJs are bad, but generally speaking, if this bride paid $500 for her DJ, paid $1,000 for her DJ, paid, then you're lucky that the guy showed up. That's amazing. You've got to ask them what they want. You've got to be real specific. Now, but there are some of these that supposedly said they were specific, but the DJ didn't care. So, I love this next one. Our DJ cut off our first dance song and said it was because we looked awkward. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time as a happily married couple, Betty and Bob. No, I'm sorry. You guys, you just look real awkward. Let's move on. Okay, what are we going to do next? We're going to have to tell you. I mean, I can't. I hope to God he didn't over the microphone say they looked awkward, but that's apparently why he only got halfway through it. This one says, I only put one song on the do not play list. One song. I only put one song on the do not play list. And they played it. Our DJ started playing Christian gospel music because they felt it was a better choice for my friends who were all heavy metal rockers. Now, again, DJs, if you're a DJ, if you're a mobile DJ, or if you know somebody getting married, be specific. Nail it down with your DJ. But again, in a couple of these cases that I'm going to be bringing up here, that supposedly didn't even matter. No, he played gospel for the heavy metal group. So not heavy metal gospel, but he played gospel music for a group of heavy metals people, individuals. So that was fun. We get and here is actually making a point that I just brought up. It says we gave our DJ a detailed list of songs we wanted to hear, about 50 of them. He played one, and he played the wrong song for our first dance. Now, I used to say that there are two types of events in the DJ world that are you can't screw up. Just honest to God, you cannot screw them up because people remember them forever. Now, one is a wedding. You remember your wedding. Even if you've had 2 or 3 weddings, you remember them. The other one is your high school prom. I think a prom is a no screw up event. Now, maybe that's because I was in my DJ days, but I remember my school prom. I remember graduating. I remember going to my prom. I remember the 2 bands. I remember that stuff. So to me, there were 2 types of events that you don't screw up. One is a wedding. The other one is a high school prom. Now, before I do a couple of these, I am not perfect. I have made mistakes. You never had either one. You don't remember any of them. DC artist. One of the biggest mistakes that I ever made, actually, and it wasn't even my mistake, right? One of the things that I touch bases with my brides and grooms on is not only a must play list, you know, what you want to hear, what do you want to hear from the DJ, but what I say is almost more important is what don't you want to hear? Give me a do not, you know, if you've got a song that you just do not want, you gotta let me know. You gotta tell me. And the main reason I push this is because, I don't know, 10, 12, 14 years ago, I was at a wedding. I was doing a wedding, and this guest came up, and they asked me to play a song called "Color My World" by Chicago. It's a great slow song. It's old, dated, but you know, but it was a good slow song, and I was getting ready to drop into a slow song, and so I'm like, okay, well, I played it. I put it on, and I mean, within a minute and a half or 2 minutes of the song, the groom came running up to me and saying, "No, stop the song." And I thought the building was on fire or somebody died or something. So bang, I hit the song, or I hit stop, and he informed me that was the song from his first wedding. I didn't know. I mean, you know, so if you don't tell your DJ, if you don't connect, if you don't let your DJ know what's going on, exactly. KGB, welcome into the house. Bridezillas never want us to play songs that reminds anyone about exes and all that shit. And exactly. And this was a case where, you know, it wasn't my screw up. You know, I didn't know. So nowadays, when I'm talking with brides and grooms, do not play a song, and I give them that example every frickin' time, and everybody relates to it. Everybody understands. Yeah. So I got a couple more here, and I'm glad KGB's here because my Twitch question he might be able to answer for me coming up. Oh yeah. My DJ thought he was a club DJ. He played remix versions of every must-play song on my list, saying that it's better for dancing. Who wants a trap version of My Own Worst Enemy? And yeah, you know, Ryan, and you are exactly right. You know what? He did, and he ran up and probably drew more attention to it. He could have either just let it go, or he could have mildly walked up. Club DJ, and I probably DJ'd that one. Yeah, their club DJ played remix version, a trap version of My Own Worst Enemy. But Ryan, that's a very good point. And you know what a current example of by making it more awkward by reacting is the whole Coldplay Kiss Cam, right? You all know this by now, right? That guy and that girl lady up there. If they just would have if they were hugging and the cam came by, and if they just would have stayed there, the cam would have gone on. Probably nobody would have ever been the wiser. Nobody would have ever thought of anything. It just would have gone right by, you know. But because that guy made a big deal about me not playing a song, and the reaction that I did, maybe not hitting stop in the middle of the song, maybe that wasn't the right move on my part. But the way he was reacting, I honestly thought something just terrible had happened. Jimbo Slice says Kelsey's father-daughter dance got cut short because my aunt's laptop died. One of our guests unplugged it to charge her phone. And yeah, stuff happens. And Jimbo, I loved watching. Jimbo streamed his wedding, and it was a really cool event. Very family oriented. But they didn't have a DJ. I think Ryan and I both offered to have Jimbo fly us out there to DJ his wedding. But people, oh, my uncle's got a friend whose son DJs in his bedroom. You also played the EDM remix of Baby Shark at a kid's party. I have a dance remix of Baby Shark that I've actually dropped in it. I think it's like 126 BPM, and I've actually dropped it in when I've been in that zone of little housey kind of stuff. And I just like the first chorus or whatever, it cracks me up. That's 140 BPM. That's a little more whacked up there. That's Baby Shark on crack, 140 BPM. Jimbo Slice says my aunt is a DJ. She did it for free. Oh well, then. She does. Well, now I feel stupid. Yeah, Jimbo's a cheap bastard and wouldn't fly us out there. Come on, Jimbo. Yeah. I'll have to try to find that one, KGB. That would be a fun version to have. So I mean, yeah, stuff does happen. Okay, let me get a couple more of these. Let's see. Oh, this one I love. I love this one because this has almost happened to me. But it says, our DJ went missing. We found him afterwards, we found him later sleeping in the balcony. Where's it? I don't know. We got to find the DJ somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there he is. Should we wake him? I don't. He looks so comfortable. I don't. Should we wake him up? What should we? I don't know. That cracks me up because I've done events where during cocktail or dinner, because if you're just putting on a curled up with another bridesmaid, because you're 3 or 4 days in. I've got like a 4-day run coming up here, and my last wedding or event will be taxing, it is nuts. It is nuts. Now I've never fallen asleep at a gig, but I will admit to sitting in my chair and just closing my eyes with my sunglasses on, and okay, now I'm fine. But I love that one. On our last dance, the DJ played from YouTube, and it had an ad in the middle. Now, there are a lot of DJs that think it's fine to DJ off YouTube. DJ Glenn McBride. How you doing? All the way from Australia. And because why go out and pay for music, right? Why go out and do a subscription, and get monthly CDs or downloads or whatever it is you're getting, off Extended Mix, just play it. Especially if it's a song you think you'll never play again. And honest to God, man, some brides and grooms, now it's with, ads. Yeah. There are some brides and grooms that are, so cheap that they're going to hire that $300 DJ. Well, you know what? If you hire a $300 DJ, a $400 DJ, a $500 DJ, a $600 DJ, and you think that you're going to get like the top of the line pro DJ, guess frickin' again, that cat's coming in with, YouTube videos, or maybe he bought a hard drive of music off YouTube with, hey, I can send you a hard drive with, 80,000 songs on it. That's all you'll ever need. Some bride and grooms will hire a $50 powered speaker and use their iPad. And in this conversation that I was on, I know Glenn's a little bit late. We were talking about a TikTok thread that I was in, reading about brides and stuff. There were a number of brides that said, oh, I did this and it was fine. And you should do this. My brother, ran it. Yeah, actually, you're here from tomorrow. Yes. again, not everybody needs a big whoop-to-do wedding. Not everybody needs, and different people have different priorities. Some people, the priority is the music. Some people, it's the flowers. Some people, it's the food. Of course, we DJs think it should be us. Don't cheap out on your DJ. You want it to be flawless. I mean, but again, paying $2,000, $3,000. I know a couple of DJs that are in the $5,000 range. And hopefully they're flawless. But shit happens. I've mispronounced, brides and grooms' names before, especially because so much of the stuff that I do is kind of off the cuff. I rarely write stuff down. That's me. And I'll think I have the groom's name down, I'll say Don rather than Dan, but if I'm walking around, I normally have a piece of paper in my hand with the bride and groom's name on it. I try not to say bride and groom all the time. That's another. You don't say bride and groom. You don't say the happy couple all the time. You can mix that in, but you got to say Betty and Bob. You got to mix that in there with that. This one, they said the DJ started playing music during their vows. Now, I've been asked to play music during the vows. You play some quiet kind of instrumental, maybe kind of, soft romantic stuff, while they're saying their vows, or maybe during the unity candle. I've been asked to do that, right? But I would never do that on my own. You don't mess with a wedding. You don't mess with a wedding. The wedding I did last Saturday, beautiful wedding, right? One of the requests, well, actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't a request. One of the demands of my bride was not to play any type of audience participation songs. No, put your hands in the air. No cha-cha slide. No Macarena. No chicken dance. No, Sweet Caroline. No, nothing. None of that. I don't want any of that at my wedding, and I'm fine. That's okay. If I've never played Sweet Caroline again, I'm fine. Right? Okay. Well, the day before the wedding, the Iggy Shuffle, the day before the wedding, the wedding coordinator reaches out to me and says the maid of honor wants to do a surprise song during her for the bride, and she didn't tell me it was during the toast, and if any of you are, is it? Oh God damn it! The Bills. Is it Chicago Bills? What? I'm not a sport guy. The Philadelphia Eagles? No, it's the Bills. It was Bills. Who are the Bills? What are the Bills? What do they do? They play football? They play basketball? Whatever I don't know what they do. Whatever it is, the Bills team. Well, anyway, apparently the Bills team has a short little, and it's like a minute and a half. The Buffalo Bills. Thank you, Jimbo. Yes, it was the Buffalo Bills, and they've got like a short little. Oh, hey. My salami, welcome in. Thank you. They've got a short little YouTube thing out, and they use Shout, but it's for the Bills, and it's put your hands up for the Bills, put your hands up for the egg, and make me want to shout. And she sent me the link, and I listened to it, and the first thing I said was I'm not playing this, because the bride specifically asked me not to play any of these types of songs. So we went back and forth, my agent, the planner, the maid of honor. And finally I said, okay, well, if you guys are insisting on that I play the song, I go, I need some backup here, because I don't want the bride to come back to me and go, I want a refund because you played this song. And everybody was okay. And they said, oh, no, we got you back. No problem. And as it turns out, it was fine. The bride, the maid of honor wanted it at the very end of her song, or at the very end of her toast, when she said, "Go Bills!" and bang, and the crowd went freaking nuts. It was a destination wedding. They went bazonkers, and I was like, whew. But it just goes back to knowing you're talking to your client. Okay. This one, I saved this one for last because I kind of felt like. This is something that could have been fixed that night, and so I'm not really holding it against the DJ. This one says, we gave our DJ a list of songs that we wanted. We gave him a list of songs we don't want, and we gave him a list of songs that we want. And he got them mixed up. Okay. Now that I don't think is on the, maybe the first song or maybe the second song, that's on the DJ for mixing the list up, right? But all the bride has to do is, or groom or whatever, go up to the DJ and like, oh, hey, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, okay, great. I mean, what's the problem there? What's the deal there? That should have been a very easy, not on the DJ. Well, I mean, sort of on the DJ, but on the bride and groom. And in all these instances that I mentioned here, all of them said that they asked for refunds from the DJ. They all asked for a refund. Some of them got it, some of them didn't. Some of them were really mad. Coke, it's for fun. But anyway, there was all kinds of things I wanted to share today about history of Chuck the DJ. Right here, this is probably the oldest picture that I could find of me actually at a school dance DJing, and I'm going to assume it was either a Valentine's or Christmas dance because of my vest. And I don't know if Carlos is still here or not, but I do know that this was taken at Kenilworth Junior High School. That was probably, and you're probably talking 70, maybe 74, 73, 74, maybe 75, but I think that was right around that zone. And that's me sitting in a chair back there. That's how we used to do that. We can do a very short history of DJ Head. We had a fog machine and stuff. That was cool. We really enjoyed doing that. This was one of the light shows that's me in the back with my perm. That we used to take into a school, and you really can't tell, but I had a photographer, a guy named Don Jackson, come, and that was my rack because I used to play all on tapes. But wrong button. That light show turned into that. When you put some smoke in the air and you turn the lights on, that's what my light that was my basic lighting for years and years and years at school dances. That's what I would bring in. That's what I bring to school. And that was the real rock feel I think back in the day. This is another one of my really old. That's me. That's me right there. That's me. And that's my buddy Jeff and Dave, and that guy's name's actually DJ, but that's me. That was an early type of promo shot is what that was there. There's me sitting in the chair, and that's what I used to do. We would go to a 3-hour school dance. Exactly. Why is our bill so high? We used to get like 7 or 8 circuits to run that stuff. But I would go to a 3-hour school dance with cassette tapes recorded like 3 hours. And I had a buddy that would put the tape in, and he would do it. And I would sit there in this chair. It was a Naugahyde chair, and it would swivel, and I had a microphone, thank you, Radio Shack. And I would just mouth off during the show. I keep showing you pictures of John Lennon, thinking it's me. That's how we used to do things. That's just another picture of the show. This show. Wait, where am I at? That's me back there. This show and dual 18-inch subs, and these were PV 3020 speakers, and I set this stuff up all by myself. That was back in the day when I couldn't get a light guy. I set all that stuff up by myself. It took me like 3 hours to set that stuff up. Let's see, where are we going? Oh, so this is a very rare photo. This is my wife. This is Black Sheep Kajira. When we first got married, and we would go do a school dance, and she would run my lights for me. This was Black Sheep Kajira, back in the day. She'd probably kill me if she knew I had that up there. And then I moved to Maui, and I did weddings like that, and I had those views at weddings. No, that's just me at a corporate party on Maui with a couple little cakey hula girls. It was kind of cute. And this is a school dance. This is how I used to do school dances. This is what I really enjoyed doing. And these are some of my old business cards. And this business card right here was my favorite business card. Yeah, I know you can't read that, but what that says on our business card is, we just like to play it loud. That was it. We just like to play it loud. Jimbo, did I make mixtapes off the radio? No, there was a he used to record radio mixes from VHS on EP. It sounded perfect, and it recorded everything for 8 hours, set it to go. And there you go. Ford, welcome in. Ford 9050. We had a record store in town that I was in good with. And what the record store would do, I could go in and I could rent the 45s for 10 cents, right? So I would go in and I would rent all these 45s. And that's old Slock Award a wedding. I would go in and I would rent the 45s. I'd take them home. I'd put them on tape, and then I would take the records back. I would just play them once, and then I had them forever. And that went on for a number of years earlier in my career. That was pre-going full time. That was probably like from let's guess 71 to 76 in that zone that happened. So yeah, that was that. So, I don't know. So that was just a little. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the DJ world than specifically on Twitch. But now I'm down to about the last 10 minutes, and I do have a question about Twitch. You did that with Blockbuster Movies, and I don't know if there's any streamer DJs in here. And I want to talk about this knock feature. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The knock feature now. Supposedly, when you're streaming, right, and you see somebody else and they're streaming, you can knock, and you can get you get like the shared chat, right? So there, if I'm streaming, right, and I see Dance DJ Deb on, and I hit the knock feature, and I'm assuming you accept it. I haven't done it yet. My chat merges with your chat. Is that correct? Is that how that works? My people don't see or hear what you're doing. Okay. Now, so this was my situation last night. DJ Gemini was on, and I knocked, and now all of a sudden I was watching him on my tablet, right? But now I realize I can't hear him. Now, that shared stream's different. This is the knock thing, from what I understand. So if you're a streamer and I knock and you say you accept, does that just mean automatically that my chat's going to join your chat? And I don't necessarily need to hear you say, "Oh, welcome in," or any of that kind of stuff, because we can't hear you anyways. Is anybody give me a yes or no on that? Because I would like to do this, because I think it would. I think the purpose behind this, the knock feature, is to enlarge your audience, is to get new people to at least, maybe not see your stream, but introduce you to new people. My buddy, well, not really my buddy, my streamer acquaintance, Damn Pete, great guy, puts on the shared chat. Okay, I believe the knock, you combine your streams together. You can do a shared chat separately, then streaming together. Well, see, now the ones that I've seen, KGB, that you see them, you see them like on your Twitch thing. You see, who's got like so many people, and then you got, like you said, KGB, and it says plus Betty and Bob, and plus Alpha, or plus whatever, and it shows like this person's got 50 people in his, and this person's got 5 people in his, and this person's got 110 people in his, and it's got a combined of 180, whatever it is. And if you go to one of those streamers, you're going to be in their chat. You're going to be at their show. I'm going to watch you, but and this is what I don't understand. This is why I wanted to get cleared up. The knock feature. So, in case anybody's streaming after the show, I'm gonna go on, and if somebody wants to knock, there's Greg Murray Entertainment, the voice of Chat with Chuck. Here, listen to this. This is Greg Murray.
It's time for Chat with Chuck, live from Windsor, California, discussing stuff on Chuck's mind, life, attitudes, and stuff. And now, your host, Chuck the DJ.
Isn't that a great voice? Is that not an announcer's voice or what? I mean, come on. That's that's the kind. Greg Murray, I appreciate you popping in. How you doing today? Are you having an afternoon delight? Greg hangs out at home. He's retired. He gets to be with his wife and stuff. That's Greg Murray. Yeah. I think Greg Murray is still doing those for people. If you're a streamer and if you need some voiceovers, I think you can reach out to Greg Murray and he'll be happy to do that. I think it costs $500, $600, $700, $800, something like that. But yeah, what a great voice. What a great voice. So the knock feature, yeah, I want to try it. So I guess I'm just going to have to keep my eyes open when I'm streaming, and everything I do is on one computer, so it makes things a little bit harder for me, because I don't have different computers going on all different things. I have to bring in my tablet to watch something else. So, but the knock feature, I think that's great. Last week we talked about LFG. We talked about Let's Fucking Go radio, and I'm assuming that's what it stands for. I haven't really found out. I want to do the knock. Yeah, the knock thing, Greg. I was talking to somebody about LFG, and they've been streaming on it, and they've been having a good time. Not too many people yet, but we're gonna hope that takes off for those people. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting very close to the end of the show here, and as those of you know that have been here for a number of times, the last couple minutes, I like to do this thing called Run to the Chat, and oh shoot, I forgot all about my thing up there. And this is your opportunity to if you've got anything you want to talk about, anything you want to bring up. It doesn't even have to be anything I've talked about today. If you've got any questions about me, the DJ world, Twitch world, or you see anybody in the chat you want to ask a question about, this is your time to do it. In fact, I got all shook up. Are you ready? Hold on a second.
It's time for Run to the Chat. Your chance to ask a question, spout a thought, make a query, or share an idea. What you got? It's time.
Whoops, there we go. That's Greg Murray. That's the man, the myth, the legend. So, but we're nailing it. We're cutting close here, and so I'm actually gonna cut Run to the Chat short. Right up here, right here is the 7-day going on raid train, and I'm on the raid train tonight, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which basically is about 5 hours from now. And it's a great cause. And if you can pop in and donate to the cause, Mr. Latin House puts on this raid train. I think there's something like 80 DJs on this raid train. It's just tremendous. Radioactivity, thank you so much. I appreciate you all for being here too. I am going to kind of wind this down. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to play some music for a little while if nobody else has anything else they'd like me to bring up. And then what we're gonna do is play music for a half hour or so. I'm going to calm down. The fact that you're here kind of supporting, I do so much appreciate it. Tuesdays at 4:00. Greg Murray, last minute. What do I think of LFG TV? I am on LFG TV. I haven't streamed on it yet. I said this last week. We talked about this last week. I think they're going to have a battle. I consider LFG Kick 2.0. They've got some great stuff supposedly in the works. It's not all done yet. Personally, I think they should have waited till they had all their ducks in a row before they went live, but I think they were itching to go live. They don't have a mobile app. At least they didn't, as far as I know. So the deal with LFG is there's a lot of DJs that are making their way over there. Greg, I don't know if the audience will go. And I said this last week. I think the problem is going to be people are used to being on Twitch, right? Yeah. People are used to being on Twitch, and this is a perfect example. And this is exactly what you're saying what I'm going to say. Nobody has any reason No casual viewer has any reason to go over to LFG or Kick as long as their favorite DJ is still on Twitch. Why? Why go over? They know the Twitch program. They've got it in their car. They've got it on their phone. They've got it wherever. There's no reason for the casual viewer to go, oh, okay, I'll go over there while you are still on Twitch. Why? No reason whatsoever. Okay? There's a better payout for this DJs on LFG and on Kick. That was the big push. But getting the viewers to go over and do that, it didn't happen on Kick. I would love to see it happen on LFG. I don't think it's going to happen. There's no reason to. Until Greg Murray goes, you know what? I'm not going to stream on Twitch anymore. I'm only going to stream on LFG. Okay? Then anybody who is a fan, well, see, the point is there's no audience there because there's no reason for people to go there because you're on Twitch, right? So if you stop being on Twitch and you go over to LFG or you go over to Kick, then your audience, if they want to hear you, if they want to see you, they'll go. But that's a gamble. That's a gamble. Yeah. So, you know, you're streaming to both. Ryan does the same thing. Ryan streams. I think you're still streaming. I don't know if you're streaming to LFG, but I know you were still streaming to Kick. Why? There's, you know, I was multi-streaming for a while. I did the Kick thing. I was streaming to both. I didn't get much of an audience over there, and you know, I got tired of trying to watch all the monitors. You know, Sam Nation, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Sam Nation. We talked about the DJ world, Sam, and we talked about the knock feature on Twitch, and now for some reason we've got onto the LFG for the last couple of minutes. But I hope LFG, you know, I hope I'm wrong. Ryan's streaming to all three now. I don't know why, but more power to you. Yeah, Greg Murray, watch all the monitors. That sucks. We talked about this again last week. We're going a little overtime, folks. I'm sorry. We talked about this last week. I made a joke. KGB was streaming on both, and me and I can't remember who it was. Me and somebody else were on the LFG side, and we were talking back and forth, and we were saying stuff. And KGB, you know, he was centered on Twitch. And that's where the audience is, rightfully so. So we made a joke, you know, it's like, I wonder how long it's going to take him to notice us. And oddly enough, as soon as I said that, for some dumbass reason, he happened to look over and see that right away. Jaybird. Yeah, it was Jaybird. Thank you. You know, so, I mean, I got on LFG. I mean, I registered on LFG to save my name for some reason. You know, like I think somebody's going to steal Chuck the DJ CA. So I wanted to get my name on there. I have not done the streaming restream thing there, and I won't. I mean, I won't stream over there until something happens. You know, something's got to happen to make the casual viewer go over to another platform. Doesn't matter what it is. You're used to going to Twitch. That's where they're going to hang. KGB was going to grab my name and sell it to me later for a round of golf. That would be great. We should just a Twitch golf day. We can get together and get Ryan. We could laugh. You ever play golf with Ryan? We could laugh. We'll bust up. We won't be able to hit your shot because you watch Ryan golf. Or I'm sorry, you should watch Ryan try and golf. I mean, hilarious. And cigars. There you go. Cigars, a day with KGB, watching Ryan try to golf. That's entertainment at its finest right there. That is. All right. Well, I think I think as I've said, we're a tad overtime here. And I want to thank everybody for popping in today. I want to thank you all for the support, for being here. I say tonight, 10 o'clock, I will be on the Raid Train for the Brain Aneurysm Raid Train fundraiser put on by Mr. Lattenhouse. They've got a $2,000 goal, and it looks like they're a little under $1,000 right now. So hopefully Hopefully we can get that up there tonight. So, Greg Murray, thank you for being here. Dan Stance, DJ Deb, thank you for being the very first person in the chat. I do appreciate my Pookie, DJ Ryan. Tennessee Girl, thank you for being here. Jimbo/Chicago, Lockpick, thank you so much. Sam Nation, thanks for coming in. Radioactivity, Greg Murray, who else is here all night? Hack. Ford 9050, thank you for being here. My Salami, and those of you that are lurking, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, and I guess we'll hold on a second. I get my thing ready. I'm such a professional. We'll where's the button? We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to Chat with Chuck. Have something you want Chuck to riff about? Send him a whisper and get ready to be entertained. I'm Greg Murray. Thanks for listening.